In introduction to what I'm going to talk about, the aspect of communication today, I'll say, have you ever been with someone in a conversation or just being there, and that other person is in the same physical space as you, the same environment as you, but they're not actually there, they're not in the space, their mind is perhaps somewhere else? Or have you found it that you've been somewhere and you're in a physical environment, perhaps doing things, and you're not actually there? Mentally, you're off somewhere else. What's up with that? How does that happen? Why does that occur? What is actually going on? Well, what was happening is you weren't communicating, or that person wasn't in communication with that present environment. They were to some degree, but we have this slider of relative degrees. How much are they in communication with their present environment, and how much are they actually in communication with things that aren't present that perhaps are in their mind? So we're going to explore that just a little bit today. And you may have heard this being spoken about in various ways as, being present or mindfulness, a lot of other various words. But actually, way back as early as 1950, L. Ron Hubbard was writing about it and even knew about it and discovered phenomena related to it from his studies in Eastern philosophies. So it isn't something new, but how L. Ron Hubbard codified it, put it together, and made it completely understandable in all aspects of life definitely was a novel approach of his. So let me give you a bit more information. So I have spoken in the last video about communication and responsibility. And I related that, as I have many different things, to the purpose of the mind. And I have said to you in various ways, the purpose of the mind is to solve problems related to survival. Okay, and I've basically gone over that in this wise. You have a problem, you want to survive better. Or you have a problem that's stopping your survival. In any case, you have some sort of a problem. You set your mind to work. So let's say it's something as simple, and I've used this explanation before, as rudimentary as you don't have a screwdriver, yet you need to tighten something, a screw of some sort. And then your mind starts to think, how do I solve this problem? Perhaps it's on your bed, or it's on the mirror in your bathroom, or something that's in your bedroom. So what do you immediately do? You go to the kitchen, and what are you looking for? Something that will solve that problem. Scanning the kitchen. Oh, could it be that knife? Oh, could it be that fork? Depending on the size. So you see how your mind goes to work in solving these problems related to your survival. Obviously, that's a mini example. So I want to give you a couple of other, let's say, extend that idea of the mind. The purpose of the mind is to solve problems related to survival. And I'm going to give you a couple of extra quotes on that to really extend it out to explain or connect to this idea of communication and being present. Okay, so the first one is actually not from this book. It's from another book called The Handbook for Pre-Clears. And in Dianetics and Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard termed someone to be a pre-clear, someone who was before the state of being clear. And being clear had a definition in regard to the person not having and being affected by their own negative aspects of their mind. Okay, so I could get into more of that, but that'll open another basket of information. So for the moment, we're just going to talk about this book, all right? And the quote is, "The purpose of the mind is to pose and resolve problems relating to survival and to direct the effort of the organism according to these solutions." Okay, so you see how that's a bit of an extension of what I just said. So that is not only posing and resolving problems related to survival, but then also directing the effort. So the physical effort, the motions, the things that the body will do, the organism, we're going to call it the body in this example, according to that solution. So if there's a solution required, you need to, I'm going to use a knife from the kitchen to do up that screw. The body then, you get directed to go down, get the knife, return, and solve that problem. Again, basic examples. Okay, so now I'm going to move forward to an example, a quote from this book. And again, this book here covers the basics of Dianetics and Scientology. And in this book, L. Ron Hubbard has a section on the mind and breaks it into its different component parts. And there is this part of your mind, which he he termed the analytical mind, which does all the thinking and calculating, the reasoning. It is logical. It does all those sort of calculations on a very logical and clear thinking sort of basis. Okay, we can get into more of that, but just for the moment, we're going to go with this quote. Okay, so we're talking about the analytical mind, which is the reasonable, the rational, the thinking part of the mind that is helping you solve problems. Let's leave it at that. Okay, so here we go. The analytical mind combines perceptions of the immediate environment, of the past, via pictures, and estimations of the future into conclusions which are based upon realities of situations. Okay, so let me take that one part at a time. So the part that you'll be familiar with is the point about solving problems or finding solutions or coming to conclusions which will form solutions. So you heard that in there. So there's these three aspects of what the mind is doing to come to those conclusions. It is, from the quote, combining perceptions of the immediate environment. Okay, so currently looking around, seeing the things that are present in the environment as action or activity is occurring in the present. Okay, it's also combining perceptions of the past. Now, it says via pictures. So, introduce the concept here, the mental image picture, something that L. Ron Hubbard discovered that is in a greater or lesser degree intact in people, that you can actually return yourself to the past and get pictures of things of the past. And if anyone out there doesn't have that ability, then certainly you should read Dianetics, the book Dianetics, to find out more about that. But anyone else that I have come across that has their mind in, reasonable order can actually get a picture of something. And you can even try that now. Get a picture of what you had for your breakfast, lunch, or brunch today. Close your eyes and get a picture. Do you see it? That is a mental image picture. Okay, so we've got these two parts so far. The present environment, perception from the present environment, which we did talk about as being communication. The past via pictures, and estimations of the future. So any person operating with problems in life, trying to survive, is taking those three things into account. The present environment, the past via pictures in the mind, and also estimations of the future. So all those things combine into forming conclusions that the person operates on. And it also, there's a modifier there, based upon realities of situations. So we spoke about reality in an earlier video. If you want to check that out, that certainly would be worth your while to understand that a little bit further. Okay, so I'm just taking those three parts. So let's look at that then for a session, a second even, in relation to what I said about communication and being present. So here you are having a conversation with someone and they're sitting across from you. They are taking in perceptions from the present, but they are also via pictures having communication with their mind that is giving them information about their past. Now, here's where we move into something about problems. So what is a problem? A problem is essentially something that does not have a solution. And you'll know yourself that if you have a problem and you're turning it over in your mind and you're thinking about it, that when you find a solution for it, it kind of ceases to occupy your attention. And attention we could refer to as let me see here, what did I write down? A quantity of awareness directed at something. So you have some awareness and your awareness is directed at something, and that would be a rough definition of attention. Okay, I gave you that out of my own mind here. There is some particular definitions, but I'm going to stick with that for just a moment. Okay, so when someone is present, what degree, so we've got those three things, the present, the past pictures, and the future estimations. To what degree is the person combining those in their mind when they are with you? If they are perceiving the present time environment in the greatest amount, and maybe they're also calculating things into the future, you might say that they are present with you. They have a degree of mindfulness or a state of their mind that is present. But if they have a problem, and perhaps it's a problem of some magnitude that they have their attention directed toward, where are they? In other words, where is their awareness? Where is their attention? Well, it may not be wholly, entirely, or in the majority with you in that conversation. Just the same way that you may not be wholly or entirely in a conversation or in a location with somewhere else. Your attention can be put into your mind in a greater degree that you're actually in the present environment. So have a think about what that does in relation to accidents, in relation to mistakes, in relation to people mishearing things, doing things that are out of sequence, they're not matching with the present situation. And much of that is because they have their attention or their awareness is actually in their mind in past pictures for various reasons on problems related to their survival. Stuck in moments, and there's a various number of other things reasons why they could have their attention there. Okay, so that gives you a little bit of information on being with someone and them not being present, or you being somewhere and not actually being in that environment or perceiving that environment, is your attention is off in your mind. So, why is it off in your mind? And we're going to go back to that axiom of solving problems related to survival. Okay, so I want to also introduce the next thing, because there isn't just survival, but included in the whole subject of survival, there is this subject of interest. And I'm going to move on to that in the next video. But for the moment, I want you to understand or have a look over how someone's communication, your own communication, has to do with problems. And so when you're with someone and you think perhaps they're being rude, or perhaps they're very vague, or they're tired, though that does have some element in it, that you consider that they may be trying to solve some problem or having some sort of problem in their life that they can't find a solution for. And that is affecting communication. Your communication, their communication. So see how you can apply that. I hope you get some benefit out of understanding communication from that sort of perspective, and how also mindfulness or being present also starts to have more things revealed about it, and you can use that to your betterment. That's all I have time for. Shanae for today.